important question. Why did Spinoza use the word God to describe his concept of nature? Indeed, we saw that his God was very different from religions. So why creating confusion using the same word? To be honest, it's really hard to answer this question. Some people will tell you that he was a pantheist, which is not entirely true, and other people will tell you that it was to avoid having issues with the religious authorities. But again, this is probably not the reason. In this video, I'll try to answer this question in a different way. But bear in mind that this is my own interpretation. And for me, the answer lies in another important concept in Spinoza's philosophy, causality. Causality is everywhere in Spinoza's nature. Everything, every event, every thought is a consequence of a series of causes. And remember, nothing is outside of nature, so nothing is outside the realm of causality. Everything happens necessarily. And every time we face determinism in philosophy, the question of the original cause always pops up. Indeed, if we are determined by causes, those causes themselves are determined by other causes. And those causes are also determined by more causes, and so on. But is there an original cause at the end of the line? Or has it always been an infinite series of causes in motion? In simpler words, is there a first domino causing all the others to fall, or has it always been an infinite line of dominoes in motion? Well, again, those are very hard questions, and it is simply impossible for us to know. And this is why I think Spinoza wanted to get this issue out of the way as fast as possible. And to do so, he assumed that there is indeed something that created itself, and didn't require any premises. And he called this thing the substance. The substance is what exists by itself, independently from any other cause. The substance is its own cause. And this is actually the classic definition of God, what creates itself. Nothing creates God, God creates itself. And this is why I think Spinoza calls nature God, because he assumed that it created itself. And this is very important in Spinoza's philosophy, because if you open the Ethics, you will see that Spinoza starts by defining what a cause is, even before defining the substance, or even before defining God or nature. And since we are part of nature, we follow the same rules of causality. We bathe in a notion of determinations, which actually means that we have no free will. We don't really take decisions in Spinoza's philosophy, but decisions take us. It is simply impossible to take a decision regardless of the causes that determine you. Every decision is the result of a series of causes. Now I know, I hear you coming. I think a lot of people can start to get a bit depressed hearing all of this, right? I introduced Spinoza as the philosopher of joy, but, I've been saying since the beginning that there is no heaven, there is no free will. Hang in there. It's usually really common that when you get to know Spinoza's philosophy, you get a bit depressed about all this. But believe me, it's worth it, because what comes after is just magnificent. But back to the topic. According to Spinoza, free will is an illusion. So let's do a small thought experiment to better understand this. Imagine yourself in a room with two doors. Suddenly a fire starts in the room and you need to choose one of the doors to get out. You can choose the door A or the door B. Let's say you choose the door B and manage to exit the room. In this example, you think you have free will. You chose the door B over the door A. But what if I tell you now that the door A was actually closed, and that in the end you would have had to take the door B anyway? Here, free will is an illusion that comes from the fact that you didn't know that door A was closed. In reality, you had no choice but to take the door B to escape. And this is exactly what free will is in Spinoza's philosophy, an illusion coming from the ignorance of the causes. It is impossible for us to free ourselves from causality, but by having a clear understanding of our determinations and, most importantly, our nature, that is to say external causes, affect us, we can get better at life. But the illusion of free will prevents us from doing so. Thinking that we manage to achieve something because of our will or our motivation prevents us from actually looking into the causes that allowed us to do so well. For Spinoza, there is no will, just causes that push us in a direction and determine us to do well. When there's a will, there's a way is a lie for Spinoza. But when there's knowledge, there might be a way indeed. For example, you cannot just jump out of the window and start flying. You have not been determined to fly, but you can understand the laws of nature that could allow you to fly and find a solution to that problem. This is basically what we've done to get planes. Knowledge really is what allows us to make the most out of causality. And we'll see in another video that Spinoza actually defines 3 different levels of knowledge. But in the end, Spinoza's philosophy is a journey to free ourselves from the illusions that limit us, to free ourselves from the superstitions that prevent us to make the most out of causality. And now that we have covered Spinoza's metaphysics, we can start diving in the art of his philosophy and start our Spinozist journey. But before closing this video and do the usual recap, I'd like to say a really thank you to everyone who watched and shared the previous episodes. Over the last few days, I got a lot of really nice comments and feedback regarding this series. And just to let you know, each video takes me between 8 to 10 hours to complete. So getting this kind of feedback is really, really important to me. So again, thank you a lot for sharing, watching, and subscribing. It really, really matters to me. Okay, so let's do a quick recap of what we've learned today.